Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1031, written by Worker11811, Georgie, the Omniscient Homeless Man. I was working on a no-budget film, a really trashy script, weird plot, no redeeming values at all. Toward the end of production, me and the director were going around getting second unit inserts. We were on 59th Street at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning unloading the camera. We were going up to a penthouse he knew of to get a shot looking down into Central Park. No one knew about the film other than the production crew and actors. It would never ever have been mentioned in any media. So the director and I are unloading, and there's no one around except for one homeless man. He's shuffling along the sidewalk, heading in our direction. He's one of the sad, mentally ill people that our society refuses to help. So his schizophrenia is untreated and he's out on the streets and he's talking to himself non-stop as he comes along. When he gets close to us, he looks at us and says, "And here are those guys that are making that movie about," and he proceeds to rattle off the entire plotline as he walks past, as if he were reading the IMDb synopsis. None of our equipment was visible, so there was no way that anyone would recognize us as a film crew. The director and I just looked at each other like, what just happened? Case notes for file 1031, the Omniscient Homeless Man. So this is interesting. Apparently in the comment thread, there are people that know about a very well-known, famous homeless man in New York City. Well, he was homeless, he's not anymore. They call him the Radio Man. And he's famous for always being in the spots where people are filming video or films, TV shows and such, like actual production companies doing it. No one really knew how he wound up in those places. Was it just a coincidence, lucky accident, or does he have like an inside connection? It seems like it's more than that, because obviously your case, you were just filming some random, very low budget film that no one knew about. So how did he know? Was it just random happenstance? It could be, but certainly hard to appreciate how he could know the actual intimate details of the movie you're producing. I mean, who knew? Besides you guys. The information must just be out there and his mind is tapping into it. Case file number 1032, written by friendshipwins. The universe gave us a wink. This summer, I had bought my girlfriend a last-minute birthday trip to go kayaking around the San Juan Islands off the Washington state coast. After a long drive and ferry trip, we found the tour group of about 20 people and were then shuffled into a shuttle van for a ride to the beach. Now, my girlfriend has a unique name similar to the name of a famous painter. Let's say it's Rebecca Warhol, just for fun. It's not. She's a little ray of sunshine and started chatting with the middle-aged woman sitting next to her on the shuttle as we waited to leave. The woman noted that she always had loved the name Rebecca, as it was her mother's name. They made pleasant small talk in the van until the tour guide passed around the sign-in sheet for all of us to fill out. That's when things got strange. My girlfriend wrote her full name on the sheet and passed it on to the woman, who immediately shouted, "Oh my God," and started crying. After a few minutes of total confusion, she told us, "Rebecca Warhol was my mother's full name, and these islands were her favorite place in the world. She passed away this summer from cancer, and we've traveled hundreds of miles to spread her ashes here." We were stunned. I literally picked a random date, time, and tour company, and then we were split into the same group as this woman, and my girlfriend was sitting right next to her on the shuttle. What the hell? She continued by saying, "My daughter told us that Nana Rebecca would be with us on this trip, and I didn't believe it until now. It was the most unbelievable coincidence we had ever experienced, and has totally convinced me that there's more to this world than we think. As my brother later said, the universe winked at us that day." Case notes for file 1032. The universe gave us a wink. So Einstein would say that the universe, there aren't any coincidences, or God doesn't play dice with the universe. In this case, the dominoes would have to fall so precisely in so many ways for this to align. It's quite remarkable indeed. Now yeah, there are coincidences that happen every day, we can't discount that, but still, to me, seems more than just random coincidence. Maybe indeed, the universe, God, the simulations, the developers, the flying spaghetti monster wanted to give you a little sign, like hint, hey, more is going on here. Maybe you needed to believe that for some reason. It all comes back to the butterfly effect, where even the tiniest thing, tiniest event, like a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, can cause a hurricane or a tornado in Ohio or Florida. It all comes back to that because of the innate chaos of the universe. So many variables that aren't exactly random. To actually predict the future, you would have to know every variable at such a precise level that it's impossible. It's why they call it chaos theory. And that's what weather is. The further out you go, it's unpredictable. Even a couple days, it becomes loosely predictable. But in a lot of ways, I think that's awesome. I think it means that every single one of our actions, even the tiniest ones, can have a monumental impact on the entire course of the human history, of the planet's history. So never feel like you're too small to make a difference. You're not.
Case file number 1033, written by Null7ella. No, really, that's just Nutella. Grandma has unlimited magical power. This happened a while ago, so bear with me as I try to recall the story. Anyway, I always try to look for the logical reasoning behind a weird occurrence, which I don't have many of. But this experience, man, I have no idea how I could even try to explain it. Back in 2015, my mother and I were returning from the mall after doing some last-minute prom shopping. Unfortunately, we left just as rush hour started. Anyone who lives in the city knows how nightmarish rush hour can get. I had this urge to look out the driver's side window, and I spotted my grandma in the car next to us. It was even the same make and model that she always drove. At first I thought, wow, what a coincidence, she was on the same road as us. I remember pointing her out to my mother, who did a double take and muttered something about how she didn't realize my grandma was back from vacation. I had completely forgotten she was in Mexico and lived 2 hours away from us. This woman, besides us, had everything my grandma had. The same mole, the same glasses, the same assortment of beads and air fresheners hanging from her mirror. It was her. But when we tried to get her attention, she didn't seem to notice us, or maybe she was ignoring us. Either way, she ended up turning off the highway. When we got home, I ran to my room and checked Facebook, her go-to social media. She just posted a recent picture of her swimming in the ocean, still in Mexico. I messaged her to ensure she was still on vacation, and lo and behold, she was. I told my mom, and she explained it as we saw someone that looked exactly like her. I would generally accept that explanation if it weren't for all the items and defining features that confirmed that woman was, in fact, my grandmother. To this day, I have no idea what happened that day.
Case notes for the Nutella file. 1033. The Grandma with Unlimited Power. Yeah, again, it just comes back to that point where there are coincidences, but this is stretching the line, let's say. I don't know what it would be, though. Just multiversal peering, maybe? Because I don't think it could be astral projection. Someone wouldn't project an entire car, exactly how they drive it with the air fresheners dangling from the mirrors. That's not possible, from my understanding. So, it's not astral projection. I don't think it would be a doppelganger, driving the exact same car as your grandma. So the only thing I can think of is multiversal peering. Just a different universe where your grandma wasn't on vacation at that moment. Just driving on the highway. Even then, though, it's still quite a coincidence to be driving alongside her. So, no matter how you stretch it, this is remarkable and kind of incredible. I think the only real solution is that your grandma went to Hogwarts. Lucky. Very lucky. And now time for the quote of the day. Never give up, never surrender. Commander Taggart. If you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, go watch it. It's a great spin, kind of parody of Star Trek, but in a serious parody. But I think the quote is accurate. You shouldn't give up. Never. No matter what's happening, keep pressing on. Like the quote or the story from a while ago, maybe in the next few hits of the rock face, you'll find a gold vein. Your future self deserves your perseverance right now. That's my quote. Like the video, subscribe. See you guys soon.